Thank you, George. Let's switch to a topic related to human psychology now. Sometimes we choose to stay silent for protection. Please welcome Zoey with her talk, The Spiral of Silence.
Hello everyone, I'm Zoey. Let's start with some simple questions. Have you ever been in the classroom that you knew the answer, but you chose not to raise your hand? Or maybe you are in a group discussion and everyone seems to agree with something that you quietly disagree with, yet you remain silent. And it is not because you don't have an opinion, and it is not because you don't understand it, but it is because something is said you said, it is safer not to speak. So that kind of feeling and that hesitation, it is not a weakness, nor it is not a random. It is something much deeper and something more powerful. So today I'm going to talk about that invisible force, which is known as the spiral of silence. The spiral of silence is a very famous communication theory that people naturally fear of being isolated and rejected by others. So if you are a minority group of people, you might just remain silent. But if you are the majority, which means a larger group of people that have the same opinions or thought, you might just speak louder and confidently. So as the time goes by, the loud people get louder while the silent people remain silent. So basically forms a cycle of the spiral of silence. So the theorist of the spiral of silence is Elizabeth Newman, and she is a very famous, well-known German communication scientist and a political theorist. She published the spiral of silence theory in 1974, and she was born in 1916. So we can see at the left part is the dominant opinion that expressed by the mass media. The left part is the interpersonal support for those people who are holding the dissenting opinions. And we can see at the bottom of the photo, we can see it is a number whose people that do not express their dissenting opinions publicly at all. So that is the basically image of the spiral of silence. So why actually it is invisible? It is invisible because no one actually forces you to let you stop sharing ideas in the public. But as soon as they get criticized, hurting, or get exclusion from others, you will no longer have that braveness to be it. So this invisible force present everywhere in the high school lives. Like if others follow the crowd and just having the new trend of clothing or hairstyle, you might just follow it just to fit it in. And while others left with a question that you don't understand about, you might just follow it and remain silent. And those are all examples of the spiral of silence. Well, it is invisible, but it creates a very strong social pressure. It makes you to give up your true voice and follow the crowd. So let me emphasize why this invisible force actually exists again. It is because people are naturally fear of being isolated and rejected by others. So they are constantly observing choose which part of the opinion are more acceptable and popular for others. So if you are the minority group of people, you might get the possibility of being criticized or excluded by others. So to solve this problem, we can use critical thinking. We can examine the facts, ask questions, and form our own thought. And critical thinking is a tool that we can stay true to ourselves and do not follow in the crowd. And so this remains the topic that what actually is the most important of the speech. The real success does not mean to having the same opinion with others and follow the majority. Well, the most important thing is because we can form our own judgment and stand beside it even then we are standing alone. So the real success and people who actually change the world is not the person who actually follow the crowd and even then you remain silent in the spiral. It is the person who just speak honesty and with integrity even then you stand alone. So at the last, I want to say that even though the spiral of silence, this kind of invisible force is a very strong and powerful invisible force. Where courage and understanding, even critical thinking, are much even stronger than that. So don't be afraid of expressing yourself because the world needs you to be unique. So let me leave it with this. The world does not mean people who fall in the crowd. And the world does not mean people who are following the crowd and remain silent. And the thinkers, and the questionnaires, and people who are willing to share their thought in the public with honesty and with integrity. Thank you.